California Governor Gavin Newsom has reacted to the arrest threat issued against him on Monday by the United States, U.S. President Donald Trump over the unrest and ongoing violent protest across the streets of one of the cities in California, Los Angeles, over Trump-led government crackdown and massive raids of immigrants in the Los Angeles city, with the governor daring the president to come and arrest him, that he does not give a damn over his arrest, that he cares more about his communities, with emphasis that the situation in downtown Los Angeles is a manufactured crisis by President Donald Trump-led government. It would be recalled that riots and civil unrest by Americans broke out across Los Angeles on Friday and continued throughout the weekend into this new week to protest local raids conducted by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, with the protesters apparently overpowering and overwhelming Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, which thus appears to have prompted a strong response from President Donald Trump. Local media and videos posted online saw rioters caught on camera torching cars and throwing rocks at police vehicles, leading to numerous arrests as the federal guard worked to stamp out the chaotic gathering. Donald Trump is putting fuel on this fire. Commandeering a state's National Guard without consulting the governor of that state is illegal and immoral, Newsom wrote in an X post on Sunday. California will be taking him to court. On Monday, the California governor, Gavin Newsom, added that, "We will not stand by while Donald Trump illegally federalizes the National Guard. This is a manufactured crisis. He is creating fear and terror to take over a state militia and violate the U.S. Constitution. The illegal order he signed could allow him to send the military into any state he wishes." The California governor, Gavin Newsom, who is a Democrat while Trump is Republican, also told local media that he plans to file suit on Monday against the Donald Trump administration to roll back the National Guard deployment, which he called an illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, following Trump's move to cite a legal provision that allows him to mobilize federal service members when there is a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. It was gathered that more than 1,000 protesters clashed and faced off with National Guard troops in downtown Los Angeles on Sunday during the latest demonstrations against immigration raids that swept across California over the weekend, with roughly 300 National Guard members arriving in the city at the time, with President Trump saying on Monday he had authorized 2,000 members of the National Guard deployed to the troubled area. On April 16, 2025, Governor Gavin Newsom had stated via his verified social media account that Donald Trump does not have the authority to unilaterally impose the largest tax hike of our lifetime with his destructive tariffs. "We're taking him to court." The Pentagon also confirmed that President Donald Trump has authorized the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops and activation of 700 Marines to the troubled Los Angeles city. Residents said that the demonstrations began outside in downtown Los Angeles on Friday after the locals became more aware that the Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE officers were carrying out raids across the city. Los Angeles Times, a Los Angeles-based news media, gave some descriptions of how some persons helped save the lives of rioters during the protest. When Cynthia Soriano, Edgar Hernandez and Cesarin Hernandez set up their aguas frescas stand with an extra gallon of milk on Sunday morning, they never imagined they'd be using it to quell the burn of tear gas hours later. The trio sells hot dogs and aguas frescas off the historic La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, next to the Church of Our Lady the Queen of the Angels. Most weekends their customers consist of churchgoers after service or a baptism. On Sunday they were protesters locked in a dramatic clash with the Los Angeles Police Department and the National Guard over a series of immigration and customs enforcement sweeps occurring across the LA. And in the process of serving them, Soriano and the Hernandez brothers ducked fireworks, hid beneath their food stand and poured surplus milk into the eyes of protesters who had inhaled tear gas. Like multiple street vendors, this trio helped nourish the city during a fraught weekend that saw more than 70 arrests, widespread vandalism and cars set ablaze. Some vendors sold hot dogs on the 110 freeway as protesters and law enforcement took to the stretch of highway on foot. Others set up fruit carts near City Hall. Community aid group Food Not Bombs DTLA distributed free plant-based meals from a bike trailer, its hand-painted sign emblazoned with a raised fist clutching a carrot. Reuters international news agency also reported that the U.S. military will temporarily deploy about 700 Marines to Los Angeles until more National Guard troops can arrive, marking another escalation in President Donald Trump's response to street protests over his aggressive immigration policies. Tensions have been rising since Trump activated the National Guard on Saturday after street protests erupted in response to immigration raids in Southern California. It is the biggest flashpoint yet in the Trump administration's aggressive efforts to deport migrants living in the country illegally. The announcement that Marines would be deployed was made on the fourth straight day of protests. Late on Monday, police began to disperse hundreds of demonstrators who gathered outside a federal detention center in downtown Los Angeles where immigrants have been held. National Guard forces had formed a human barricade to keep people out of the building. Then a phalanx of Los Angeles police moved up the street, starting to push people from the scene and firing less lethal munitions such as gas canisters. Police had used similar tactics since Friday. The LAPD said late on Monday afternoon that some protesters had started throwing objects at offices and the use of less lethal munitions had been authorized, adding in an ex post, "Less lethal munitions may cause pain and discomfort." U.S. Marines have been deployed domestically for major disasters such as Hurricane Katrina and the September 11, 2001, attacks, but it is extremely rare for U.S. military troops to be used for domestic policing. For now, the Trump administration was not invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow troops to directly participate in civilian law enforcement, according to a U.S. official speaking on condition of anonymity.
Gavin Newsom is daring. Should he do it? I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under.
What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems in LA?
Oh,
are they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators?
the people that are causing the problem are professional agitators. They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail.
And what crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you suggested
I think his
earlier.
primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals. And we have to do something about it. And we're doing something about it. I want to thank the incredible patriots of ICE and Tom Homan, who's been incredible, and Kristi Noem, likewise incredible. The job they're doing. And it's like an unforced error. There was no reason for this.
Look, it's just all bizarre. If the president were to order for the governor to be arrested for no reason, I would imagine I would probably be right behind the governor and then my successor behind them. I mean, none of this really makes any sense. There's no legal framework or justification or precedent for any of this. And so again, when I think about people watching right now trying to make sense of it all, it's very difficult because there is no precedent and there is no foundation within the rule of law for any of this.
Get your hands off these poor people who are just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes, been here 10 years. The fear, the horror, the hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me, let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community, I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up, they need to stop, and we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
The perception is that
Welcome Radio, bringing you the news in a more digital way.